Hello everyone, Mikey Dare Panzernator here, and welcome to the 24th Dev Diary for Man the Guns, and this one is all about submarines and convoy raiding. So our author for this Dev Diary is ya boy Bobby, who is a new game designer on the Hoi 4 dev team. This Dev Diary is basically written kind of like of him explaining the naval game in a game he played as Germany, so I'm going to pretty much kind of paraphrase what he said and then take breaks to insert my opinions and all of that. So this is his first dev diary, so I think he did a pretty good job, but let's continue. Numbers are not final, blah blah blah, you all know the deal. He starts off with a joke saying that he's American and when it comes to World War II we show up late. This is not true. America starts World War II on time. The rest of the world just has a little bit of a preseason. But anyways, so in past versions of Hearts of Iron 4, submarines haven't done what they're supposed to do, haven't really pulled their weight, and they're changing things, making them worthwhile to build. And well, your boy Bobby put it to the test by playing a Germany game, and his naval plan was to exploit the Central Atlantic Gap, or the Central Atlantic and Cape Verde Plain with a submarine wall. So the goal here is to prevent England from getting necessary resources from the United States of America and the colonies. And the biggest effect of this resource shortage would be, the idea here is to make the United Kingdom run out of fuel, crippling their Navy and Air Force, which will open the United Kingdom to Operation Sea Lion before America joins the war, or at least make winning an air war very, very easy, and, hurt their fleet to the point that Germany can deal with it. So here we see our homeboy Carl Donitz. I'm just going to pronounce it as Americanized as I can, because I know I'm not going to be able to pronounce it appropriately in the German. So he has a bunch of task forces, and they are all submarines, and raiding Denmark Strait, North Atlantic Ridge, Mid-Atlantic Gap, and the Cape Verde Plain. So previous dev diaries have mentioned the spotting system and how naval task forces are revealed over time. And, well, this system functions a little bit differently for submarines. So spotting an enemy submarine outside of combat is based upon a chance, and this chance is based on how quickly the spotter will spot their target. So it is possible for a submarine to have a large enough advantage in spotting that a submarine task force will not be able to be spotted. But convoy escorts will still be able to fight against submarines once combat has started, even if submarines are normally not detectable by enemy patrol task forces on the map. So this system creates a kind of an arms race, a little bit of a tech race between you and, or not necessarily you, but between submarine stealth and submarine spotting. And submarines have better chances of getting the advantage early in the game. So previously, submarines would eventually be detected and killed no matter how good at hiding they were, but this is no longer inevitable. So before beginning the war, Bobby made sure to complete Germany's naval focus tree line down to U-boat effort, which, along with giving him the research bonus and some dockyards, the focus gives Germany access to cruiser submarines, which is a Tech 2.5-ish submarine with extended range, some unique module options, including catapult airplanes and the ability to be upgraded with a snorkel. Or a snorkel, for those of us who don't try and pronounce German words, even when we said we weren't going to try and pronounce German words. Anyways, so yeah, cruiser submarines, they sound kind of like maybe there's going to be a chance for you to do I think they're I-400s, the Japanese carrier submarines that launched attack planes and not just like recon planes. And yeah, these, I think in previous dev diary, it was mentioned that these types of submarines would be almost as good of mine layers as dedicated like cruisers and surface ships, but being undetectable and easier to produce, or not undetectable, harder to detect and easier to produce because they are submarines. So yeah, U-boat effort gives your Navy XP, your buildings, your naval dockyards, your research bonus, but it unlocks the cruiser submarine hull, which, you know, you can do some cool things with it. So a part of Bobby's plan for giving England a hard time included mining the English Channel, which he did with a cruiser sub equipped with naval mines and plane catapults. So the plane catapult boosted the sub's surface detection, which gave them an advantage of being detected and helped them remain invisible, at least for the first couple of years of the war. So this is the mental image I have. A submarine surfaces, launches an airplane, and the airplane flies around and it's like, Hans, the Royal Navy is coming this way. And then the submarine dives, and then the Royal Navy passes over and it's like, okay, Hans, you good. And then the submarine resurfaces, and eventually the plane does have to land. But, you know, spotting planes and all of that. And we can see the design for the submarine here with the spotting plane. And I'm guessing that module in the top left is mine laying tubes or whatever. You know, at the bottom, you can see the engine and the torpedoes and all of that. So this is Bobby's Tech 3 sub variant for mine laying in the Eastern North Sea. And he made a Tech 3 Raider sub for the Cape Verde plain. When Bobby demanded Danzig from Poland in 1939, he had 79 submarines of different designs, and made an effort to complete most of the trade interdiction doctrine. This focus on raiding gives the submarines further detection advantage over other countries which have not yet completed that doctrine. Which here we can see the naval doctrine. There have been some changes that, you know, focus around all the balances and the new combat systems and all of that. And among that, they have buffed trade interdiction to make it more attractive than it was previously. So there's additional survivability for submarines and more of an edge in surface detection value, while capital ships have received some defensive increases as well. So basically the effect of this is you're not going to be hamstrung into doing surface fleet like Fleet and Being or the carrier one, the whatever that the carrier one was called. I can't remember it at the time. But so yeah, that is that, and you know, makes more different styles of navies viable, which is something the game needs and would definitely be something fun to try out as Germany doing a game like Bobby. So a new thing they are adding is torpedo reveal chance, and this is of course for submarines. So whenever submarines in combat, attacking no longer guarantees that they're spotted. The baseline currently is there is a 50% chance that submarines reveal themselves when they launch a torpedo volley. Excuse me with that. Feeling a little sick, but anyways, moving on. This torpedo detection can be improved through doctrines and admiral traits. So ambushing protected convoys safer and retreating when too many destroyers show up a lot easier. So picture this. There are two options. Basically, it's a coin flip. One, there's a convoy sailing through the Atlantic. Oh, look, wonder nothing bad happens. And boom, a torpedo hits the ship and it just starts sinking and everyone panics. That's option number one. Your submarines are not spotted. Option number two, they see the torpedoes coming and they're like, hey, there's a submarine that way. And then all the enemy destroyers swarm around you and you dive and you hope you don't get depth charged. Kind of similar if you watch my World of Warships games. Sometimes whenever you're hunting a destroyer and you see the torpedoes, you just turn. First of all, you turn into the torpedoes so you don't get hit. You know, you go parallel with the torpedo paths to minimize your ship's surface area to be hit. But also, you start heading towards where the torpedoes were launched from, and eventually you would catch up to the destroyer. Same thing with submarines, and this is kind of how I'm picturing the submarine spotting mechanic working real life in game. Back to Bobby. In his campaign, France capitulated early in December of 1939, and to help with the naval situation, he picked Vichy France because before France fell, they contested all of the raiding of Cape Verde plain as best as they could, but, you know, Bobby was still succeeding. And, forming Vichy France put the French Navy in the hands of the Axis and helped stretch the limits of what England could endure at sea. So with Vichy France as Bobby's ally, in early 1940 there was a massive spike in convoys raided as Cape Verde plain and the mid-Atlantic gap were completely covered at which point he had about 20 dockyards producing submarines for mine laying and raiding, and all of his newest Tech 3 raiders were seeing great success under the guidance of Admiral Carl Donitz. And even when contested by the British by convoy escorts, the submarines were able to get a respectable amount of kills and retreat, and naval bombers also ramped up operations in the English Channel. So it still seems like we're going to have that scenario where your naval bombers are going to be a key piece to the puzzle in terms of naval superiority, as they should be. But it sounds like you don't have to use naval bombers, it's just you should. So here we see a screen, the naval losses screen. It might have been talked about earlier, but this is one of the better looks I've seen of it. It was before I started doing dev diaries, and I'm actually looking at it on a desktop instead of my phone. So you can see all the convoys being lost. Or I don't know how this works. Okay, so it looks like Germany lost 12 submarines, but sank 136, 126, 574. Don't know what those numbers mean, but you sunk a carrier, sunk some British submarines, sunk some light holes, sunk some more convoys. I think I get how this works. And then, you have all the different rating stuff and battle progress bars and all that. So one of the new effects they've added for convoy rating is that war support is reduced when your convoys are raided. So in Bobby's game, by mid-1940, Canada had been raided to 0 convoys, and their war support was at a point where they could no longer support a war economy, which helped the raiding kind of snowball a little bit and discourage blunt forcing convoys. Well, this promotes you to have a raiding navy, and discourages you just to kind of YOLO a bunch of convoys through an area where you're being raided. Kind of, you don't want to do a World War I at sea. You don't, instead of going over the top and running across no man's land just to get shot. I guess that'd be the analogy of convoys sailing across the Atlantic, hoping they don't get torpedoed. You want to protect your convoys and all that. And so by 41, Bobby choked England out of convoys and fuel, and the British were not able to keep their navy running, and they were open to a naval invasion, which he achieved by 1941, and at that point, he's ready to attack Russia. So thank you, ya boy Bobby. I think you're doing a great job in this dev diary. I kind of like the narrative style of, kind of what I like to do in these videos is read the mechanics, talk to you about why I think it's cool, and then talk about how I'd use it in game. Bobby is showing the mechanics by giving us the story of a game, which I really, really like. It sounds pretty cool. I'm still wondering a couple things. I mean, sounds like cruiser submarines. You're going to be able to do the I-400s, which was one of my, I think they're I-400s. The Japanese carrier submarines that were going to go attack the Panama Canal. But they're like, hey, instead of, torpedoing the Panama Canal, have those airplanes kamikaze to help save Okinawa. That'd be, cool to make. I hope they'll do something where you could raid the Panama Canal. That would be pretty cool. I know you can bomb it if you own it, like if you can blow the canal, but it would be pretty neat. I think it would be interesting if you could attack it and disable it for a time being. But that's not the point of this dev diary. What's the other submarine thing I want to talk about? Like the USS Indianapolis. I bet it happens with torpedo detection. Maybe you'll be able to catch surface fleets out and torpedo them. I'm not sure. Maybe that's just how normal combat works. Because I want a system like in the convoy rating, it pretty much sounds like you can launch torpedoes and get hits without necessarily getting detected and dragged into a combat with the retreat chance buffed and all that. So I wonder if you can do this with surface fleets and, get some ships. It looks like Bobby has been sinking some service ships, but I'm not sure if those are just escorts or if he's catching some of the Royal Navy proper with submarines, as happened historically. Let's wrap this up with the rejected titles. First of all, Raiding and Reaving, 1940 edition. Number 2, Subs, they're not complete trash now. It's a relief. I'm glad. I want them to at least be recycling. And 3, Under the Sea. Under the Sea, darling is better. I think that's is that supposed to be a lyric from Under the Sea by like Little Mermaid? Do 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 do. I don't know. But anyways, that's it for this dev diary. Thanks, ya boy Bobby. Welcome to the Hoi 4 team. or congratulations on joining the Hoi 4 team. Thanks for the dev diary. You did a fantastic job. I hope I did a fantastic job bringing you this dev diary. Please be nice and constructive in your feedback. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about submarines. This seems neat, about what I was expecting. And I'm looking forward to having a bunch of different submarines. Yeah, that's the big thing. We knew this from the naval designer, but having not all submarines be just submarines, like having mine-laying submarines and cruiser submarines. Well, I guess, yeah. And, submarines that can launch airplanes. Sounds pretty cool. I wonder if we'll be able to do that weird French World War I submarine design that had some battleship guns on it. It was a complete failure, but it'd be cool to see if you could try it in Hawaii. Anyways, that's it for this dev diary. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to leave a like, consider subscribing to the channel, follow me on Twitter, and check out my Patreon page. Thank you all so much for watching, and until the next one, this is Mikey Panzernator signing out. See ya, nerds!